everybody. My name's John Thompson, and welcome to Tesseract Talks. This is our podcast where we put the spotlight on tech trends, and I've been involved in the AI and data and analytics industry now for about 40 years. I've worked at companies like IBM, SAP, Dell, EY, and Gartner, and I'm very excited to be here today talking about strategy, resilience, and the growing urgency around AI adoption in enterprise systems. We're entering a period where AI is no longer just a talk track, it's actually organizational reality. And with me today is David Binny, who's the CEO of Panaya, and it's a company that's known for helping enterprises manage change and modernization across complex systems. Welcome, David. Can you give us a little intro on yourself and your company?
Yeah, sure, John. First of all, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. So I'm David Binny, Panaya's CEO. I've been with Panaya for the last 10 years, 7 years as CEO, and prior to that, the Chief Product Officer of the company. I have like 25 years of experience, mostly in product, technology, go-to-market, and working very closely with customers on their go-to-market and success. So, in few sentences about Panaya. Panaya has been a SaaS company since 2006. We are helping enterprises, as you said, manage change across business critical systems such as SAP, Salesforce, and Oracle. And to be honest, we don't care if it's a major transformation like moving to SAP S/4HANA or a smaller update. The challenge is always the same. The challenge will be to understand what could be possibly impacted, where is the risk, and what really needs to be tested. Along the last 20 years, Panaya helped more than 4,000 customers by now to understand change impact, prioritize the right test, and identify what could break before it breaks. And once again, happy to be here and share some thoughts about AI.
Great. So glad to be with you, David. And Panaya is definitely at a critical juncture in the industry. When I was a Gartner analyst, I had 16 CEOs that I talked to on a monthly basis. And whenever we brought up the topic of system modernization, they immediately went to, hey, I'm really worried about this. You know, modernizing means change, and that means instability. I really can't afford to have these systems falling over. So, you know, there's this conversation now around AI or die, which is kind of interesting and a little odd, but it's okay. That's what people are saying out there. So what's your role? What's Panaya's role in helping the CEO be able to have a level of comfort that they can transform, but they can yet have stable system operation?
First of all, I think that this AI or die, this is like I really can relate to this, I would say, statement. I was using it actually in one of our sales kickoffs. And, you know, if we try to look what's going on in the market, I think that the urgency comes from a mix of a real business pressure and honestly also a lot of, I would say, FOMO, okay, fear of missed out. I mean, like, you know, John, you open LinkedIn today or any social network and it feels like everyone is already AI powered, right? You see articles that every company has agents, co-pilots, automation, and suddenly also you see there is a startup saying, hey, I'm the only human and I have like an AI agent that can do all the entire work for me or even for the entire company. Sounds familiar, right?
It does.
Yeah. So naturally, you know, this drives the board, the investors, the customers, and even employees to ask, what are we doing with AI? But the reality inside most enterprises is more complicated. Like these companies, you know, they run on critical systems like finance, supply chain, HR, customer management, and compliance. So you cannot just move fast and break things there, right? So for me, this is the real tension. The business wants speed, and we all get that. Okay, but the core systems requires stability. And this is where AI becomes strategic. And I call it like AI or die. I said that AI will not replace every company here, but companies that use AI intelligently will replace the companies that do not. And not just as a buzzword and not just because everyone else is doing it, but because AI can help companies to understand risk, to reduce their manual work, to improve decisions and move faster without creating chaos. So for me, the real message behind AI or die is simple. As I said, that it will not replace every company, but companies that will use AI intelligently will replace the companies that do not.
I agree wholeheartedly, David. Having been involved in, AI, predictive AI, generative AI, causal, and now physical AI for so many decades, it's really intriguing. I've talked to nearly 500 companies over the last 5 years about AI. And I'm talking to CEOs, C-level executives, boards, and different parts of the organization about AI. So from your perspective, when you're working with companies, What do you think is the biggest risk category that people are overlooking when they're trying to move into using generative AI more broadly and then having conversations? And most people are just having conversations about agents at this point. Where's the risk lie in your
So I think there are a couple of levels. I would start maybe with setting the ground, saying that it's a journey talking about AI, but I think that in the beginning, people were looking on AI like some sort of a magic powder. Like, let's do AI here, sprinkle a bit of AI there, and everything will suddenly work. But if the process is broken, you talk about risk, or the data is messy today, AI will not magically fix it. Okay, it will just make a mess faster. And let me give you like a quick example that I like to use. Think about using the best GPS in the world, okay? But you give the GPS the wrong address, okay? So it will get you there very efficiently because you follow a blue line in the GPS when you drive, but you just go to the wrong place. In business critical system, this is a real risk because we are talking about, again, customer operations, HR, finance systems, compliance, and these are not side systems. If something goes wrong in these systems, it can impact directly the revenue of the company, the customer satisfaction, and also the compliance. So I think that the biggest risk is moving without understanding the process, without understanding the data and the business impact. So the danger with AI is not that it makes mistake. It is that it can make thousands of mistakes before a human makes one. So the trust become an issue. So this I would say the risk is to make sure that you have a clear use case, a good data, human oversight, testing, governance, and measurable outcomes before you start.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. As you can see, I've written a few books behind me there, and it seems like every book that I start out with data. I always start talking about data. And maybe that's just because I'm a data nerd and an analytics person, but people I think don't have a great appreciation for the fact that they need to get their data in good shape, when they start to do these projects. Now, I want to make sure that people aren't confused by that statement, and I'd love to hear your response to this, David, is that, people say, oh, well, we can't do AI because our data is a mess. And I said, well, you should use AI to understand the shape of your data and the state of your data. So, what's your view? Do you get your data straight first, or do you use AI to help you get the data straight?
So my view is, as I always tell our employees and also our customers, is first identify the business problem that you're trying to solve. And if you didn't have AI or automation, by the way, this is another topic that people tend to mix between AI and automation. Sometimes you
That's
just need to automate the process and you don't need AI. But if you understand pretty well what is the manual process that you are doing and you have the data that supports it, then we can do and automate. I wouldn't put on hold every AI project just because the data is not there, but I would also not go immediately and scale it. Okay. So I would say before anyone is reaching to scale AI, we need to agree on the basic principles, like what data can be used, what tools are approved today in the organization, what needs a human review, who approves what, how we monitor the risk. And I really don't believe this is like a one-size-fits-all solution, okay? I think that every company needs its own AI policy based on its systems, data, risk level, and culture. I would also add, John, that, if you will wait that everything will be 100% ready and polished in terms of the data, you will never start, right? The enemy of good is the excellent or the best. So I think you need to find the right spot to start. But, I would also like to say that, you will have some bottlenecks. If you don't have the data and security fixed, you will get out time by your CISO, by your Chief Information Security Officer. And it will be rightfully so, because he will ask or she will ask, what data are we exposing? Where does it go? Who can access it? And is it being used to train someone else's model? So you need to have a good and solid understanding of your data. It doesn't need to be necessarily 100%, but you need to understand it. If you don't understand your data or the process, then don't start with it. Okay,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
you will get to the mess faster. This is what I said.
Which we don't really want or need at this point.
Yeah.
All right. So Panaya has built its reputation around intelligent change automation. How does your approach help organizations ensure that AI-driven changes improve agility without introducing instability and unexpected risk?
I think that Panaya for the last 20 years plays a very practical role. I use the example of GPS because it's easy to explain what Panaya does. If you use GPS and you follow a blue line, you can get to your destination safely. With Panaya, if you follow the blue line, you can deliver your changes faster and smarter. Think about Panaya as the smartest GPS in the world for business change and test automation. But now think about a roadwalk in New York City, as an example. Okay, there is a work need to be done in the city, let's say in Manhattan itself. So you do not just close the main avenue in Manhattan and say, good luck, everyone. Okay. You need to know which streets are connected to each other, where traffic will move, where are the bottlenecks, and what can go wrong before everyone starts, we'd say, honking to each other. So enterprise systems are very similar. When you make a change in ERP or CRM, okay, it doesn't really matter. So it's not only one screen or one transaction. It can impact business processes. It can impact integrations, users, custom code, reports, and test cases. So before you move fast, you need to know what is really impacted, where is the risk, and what do we actually need to test and automate. So without that visibility, I think teams usually do one of two bad choices. They either test everything, which is slow and expensive, or they test too little, which is fast but dangerous. So Panaya, in that sense, helps organization to avoid both. And I think that everyone talking about moving fast, and this is like one of the appealing things of AI. In my view, moving fast is not a strategy if you do not know what you might break. So the goal, and this is what Panaya does, is not to test everything, but is to know exactly what matters before you make the change. This is the balance that enterprises today need to move faster while still protecting the system that run the business.
I think that's a great definition of intelligent change management. And that puts everybody on the same footing in this conversation, or at least those that are listening to us. As you're looking forward and AI is becoming more embedded in enterprise systems, ERP, CRM, everybody's got AI subsystems in their platforms now. So where do you see Panaya evolving, and what do you define as the next generation, the next innovation in intelligent change management?
So that's why I think that the next generation of intelligent change management will be much more connected. It will be much more automated and much more focused on outcomes. If you look on many companies today, and you are talking to CEOs all the time, I'm meeting CIOs and CEOs, I would say on a daily basis. I think that change today is still managed, if you like, as a relay race. One team analyzes the change, another team defines the tests, another team runs the test, another team review the defects, and then everyone gets on a call and asks, okay, are we good to go live? And often the most honest answer, well, yeah, we think so. Yeah, I think we can go live. Okay. And that's exactly the problem that we want to solve. When you talk about the next generation of Panaya, I see Panaya evolving towards what we call an automation factory for enterprise change and testing. So the idea is simple. We understand that the change is the only constant. Okay, changes will be there if organization will keep evolve in order to be competitive, to increase revenues, and etc. So I said that every change should come with intelligence built into it. And when a change is introduced, the system should help understand again the impact, to identify the risk, recommend the right tests, support the code fixes where needed, help validating the change, and give the organization a much higher confidence before production. So for me, the future of Panaya, or the next generation of AI, will not just tell companies what's changed, but it will help them decide what to do next, execute it, and prove that it is safe. This is what we are trying to build.
I love that. I love it. This has been a great conversation, David. I've really enjoyed the time with you. I especially liked your statement that speed is not a strategy. I thought that was absolutely wonderful. So business critical systems need to change, but they demand a thoughtful balance of agility, stability, intelligent governance, and as David said, intelligence built into the change. So it's not just a guess. You're actually ready to go live, and you're ready to move forward with visibility, confidence, and discipline in how you're going to manage your systems and environments. David, is there anything else you want to say before we say goodbye?
Yeah. One last thing I said, don't wait till everything will be perfect and in line. Try to get your hands on, if you need to have like a special tiger team or a task force within the organization to play with the tools. This is on one end. On the other end, don't forget about the problem that you are trying to solve. Don't just do AI for the sake of AI. Tie it to a very definite business problem that you are trying to solve. And based on that, also measure the outcomes. Okay. We talk a lot internally about tokens and where are I would say, the ROI of using AI. So I think that the best immediate thing is the cost reduction because it can do so many things that you couldn't do before with less people. But I think that many organizations today are starting to wake up and say, okay, what is the new revenue that we are getting from AI? And how all this, I would say, tokens and licenses that we are spending on so much tools is actually giving us a benefit. So I think you should start and explore the tools, but on the other end, start to build the right strategy that fits to your organization.
Perfect, David. That's great. Thank you for joining me today. Thanks for being on the show. Really enjoyed our conversation. And thanks to our audience. Thanks for tuning in to Tesseract Talks. Stay with us throughout the summer and into the fall as we record new episodes, and we're talking about AI, data analytics, and many other topics that intersect those interesting areas that we are all focused on right now. So have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.